Hey everyone, namaste. Thank you so much for being here. And today we're going to be doing star weather forecasts for Valentine's Day 2024, entitled It's Getting Hot and Steamy Around Here. And just full disclosure, I am feeling just a bit wonky right now. It's been just days of rain and then sunny and then rain and then dry and then humid. And then I don't know, we've got a whole spectrum of weather here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and it's just been just really interesting ride for my body. And so as we are getting close to Valentine's Day, I know I have to get this out. So hopefully my energy level stays relatively constant and I'm able to keep up the pace. Just a disclaimer or a warning, I might be picking up my tea and sipping throughout this presentation, but you know what? Honestly, I'm really excited to talk about Valentine's Day. Let me just take a sip right now. Cheers to you. Good morning to you. It is a lovely morning. I did see a rainbow over uh, over on an intersection while I was waiting for the red light to come into the office. And it was just beautiful. It's just a great sign. And I just relaxed and just went, oh, a rainbow. It's just so grateful for the universe to at least let me see a sign of positivity and joy and hope, really. So I really just appreciated that. So even though I'm complaining about the weather, complaining about, the rain and then the sun and then the overcast and then the sun again, just this is very metaphorical, but you know, this variation gave us the rainbow. Analogies don't get better than this. So I am grateful to have seen the rainbow, to have had the consciousness to be able to receive the rainbow and to pause and just breathe in that rainbow this morning. So yeah, Valentine's Day. Um, as I said, I'm really interested, or not interested, excited about the planetary alignments that's going to happen on Valentine's Day, and really, it's going to be around the period of Valentine's Day. We're gonna we're gonna be going through similar energies of transformation. Really, when we get down to it, it's really about transformation, and I feel like I just feel this need to make a separate video about how this energy of transformation would affect us within our separate natal charts, as in how this transformation is going to affect us with our different ascendant signs. But for now, we're just going to zone in on Valentine's Day and specifically Valentine's night as sort of a reflection of what we're going to be seeing for, I would say, 10 days before Valentine's Day and 10 days after. So I am using the Pacific time zone throughout the presentation and for the charts that I'm showing. But because we're just following the ascendant time through Valentine's night, the energy is going to be it's going to be similar throughout North America. So it's whoever's interested in getting a sense of what the collective energy is like for Valentine's Day, or Valentine's night rather, for this year, you're welcome to listen in. So let's get started. Again, Valentine's Day is February 14th every year. So On the evening of Valentine's Day, the collective ascendant in the West Coast PST time zone, again, it just because just the sun is right now, in Aquarius, it's just the ascendant is going to be similar for any time zone at night. So again, it's going to be the energies will be similar throughout North America. So starting around 8 p.m. So the ascendant will transit through Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio from about 6 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. roughly. And starting around 8 p.m., Virgo ascendant Lord Mercury will go into the fifth house of romance, along with the Sun, Cheroklo, Mars, Pluto, and Venus. So this is the chart for February 14th, 8 p.m. So ascendant Virgo, ascendant Virgo ruler, Mercury will go into the fifth house along with Venus, Pluto, Mars, Cheroklo, and the Sun. So this means as a collective, our thoughts and actions will inevitably be around the topic of romance and intimacy. And really, because again, the ascendant stays consistent throughout the season and moves bit by bit, but it's going to always be, not always, but it's going to be around Virgo during the Aquarius season. It's just how it is. So that means in the month of February, we are kind of interested in romance, and that there's that energy of flirtation in the air. It almost comes automatic when we just hit Aquarius season, and then the Sun and Mercury hits the fifth house at night around Aquarius season, so around February. So the foreplay is afoot, and flirtatious energy strong with third house Lord Pluto in the fifth. So in terms of communications, it is in the sign of Scorpio, and we are interested in deep communications with Pluto in the fifth house. So overall, Mercury in the fifth with Cheroklo is great for intimate communications that can be healing. So here's Mercury together with Cheroklo, the wife of Chiron, who is in charge of healing through witness. So this is great for intimate communications that can be healing in any relationship. Mercury sign Aquarius ruler Uranus will be in the 8th house. So the ruler of Aquarius right there is up there, Uranus in the 8th house. And it's going to be in the 8th house from about 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. And while Uranus isn't the greatest indicator of romance, and really neither is the stellium in the sign of Aquarius in the 5th house. So technically, Aquarius doesn't want to get too private. It doesn't, it can go deep, but it doesn't go for romance as default. But because the cluster is in the 5th house, and the cluster being an Aquarius looks to Uranus in the 8th house of intimacy, it can suggest a potential for the deepening of the relationship by initially rocking the boat. So Sun revelation can create either an opening that deepens the relationship, or a divide, a fissure that destabilizes it, because Mercury and Uranus do square each other in this chart. And I think it's going to keep squaring through the next couple of days. So it can cause disturbance when new information about the partner or relationship comes to light. And a skillful way to use this is to be the witness to your partner's courage and reach for your own inner vulnerability before giving your response, and communicate from a place of wanting deeper understanding instead of judgment. So with this configuration, Uranus squaring Mercury, there could be difficult conversations in the making. So there is a caveat to the hot and steaminess of the night, is that first information could surface on that day without without either of the party planning on it. It could just suddenly pop up out of nowhere. The subject, difficult subject, taboo subject can just come out of nowhere and sort of bring surprise, a surprise turn to the conversation and a surprise turn to the relationship, really. We're actually talking about the transformation of the relationship itself. And so it is there's a potential that some information that could revolutionize or propel the relationship forward will come in to assist that push the next step. So both good or bad, it could push towards deepening the relationship, or it can actually push towards the dissolution, the disbanding of a relationship. So that's what I mean by there is a caveat to this. But I'll get to it. The steaminess is there. So don't worry about it if you're in a committed relationship. This night really is made for you to go deeper. Then at around 10:30 p.m., Libra ascendant Venus goes into the third, looking at Saturn fifth, looks at Jupiter Moon conjunction the 7th. So this is the chart for around 10:30. And this is actually the Jupiter and Moon conjunction chart. They are in conjunction the night of Valentine's Day. And this is conducive to pillow talk or being able to further ground intimacy through communications about the relationship. And I just want to mention that Jupiter Moon conjuncts every month. So the conjunction is actually not that special. But they are conjuncting in the 7th house on the night of Valentine's Day just this year. Again, it conjuncts every month. So it's going to conjunct in March, in April, blah, 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 all the way, it's going to conjunct every February. But just this year, it just happens to conjunct Valentine's Day, which makes it very synchronistic for the occasion. Then the collective ascendant goes to Scorpio, sign of sexuality, a little later in the night, 11 p.m. to around 1:30 a.m. And the maximum potency is around 11 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. After which Jupiter and Moon leaves the 7th house into the 6th. And that means that instead of expanding upon the relationship, it's time to rest and rejuvenate, rest the body. But before then, Scorpio ascendant looks to Pluto-Mars in Aquarius 3rd. So once the ascendant goes to Scorpio around 11 to 1:30 a.m., Pluto-Mars right there is going to go into the 3rd house, which answers to Uranus in the 7th house, allowing for continuous new insights into the relationship through sudden and perhaps groundbreaking realizations. So because Uranus is so much involved, and Uranus is sitting in the sign of Taurus, has been sitting in the sign of Taurus for a while and continues to sit in the sign of Taurus, I think for the next couple of years. So this is about destabilizing what has been stagnant and fixed in the relationship so that things can flow again. Again, this is like, it could be good news, it could be bad news, it could be a mixed bag, it could be a grab bag. You don't know what you're going to get until you step into the timeline, and you just go with it. But again, it's all the indications all point to information coming forward very suddenly about some things so that we could get out of this inertia that has been there for whatever relationship that we're talking about. And just because we are talking about Valentine's Day, I'm zoned in on intimate personal relationships in terms of my languaging, but it could be, any type of partnerships, relationships that we're talking about here. So apply this energy to whatever that's arising in your life. But overall, the relationships are being shaken by information that surfaces in order for us to move forward in a new way. So there's this push towards needing to transform the relationship so that we can move on, so that we can move forward. Okay, so no matter which way we cut it, the energy of intimacy, emotional and physical, are there around 8 to 11:30 p.m. It's not just love in the air, but love that's grounded in the sharing of vulnerable information and relationship visions that lead to the possibility of emotional and physical healing and really deeper intimacy. And again, it just has to do with just Pluto being so prominent in the sky right now, and especially during the nights. I would want to say for the entire month of February, it just really, really highlighted, especially being in that 0 degree of Pluto. It's just like we are getting into deep waters for the first time, and we're feeling the increased whatchamacallit, like when you dive and you experience increased pressure, and you need time to get used to it. There has to be a time of adjustment for you to get used to the additional G's. So it's going to seem intense. So again, I don't want to say advice, but what I would do personally is to really be consciously aware of what arises. And again, as I said before, be in witness, whatever that arises, be in that seat of witness first. Ground yourself in witness first. And know that, how do we do it? By knowing that it is happening to all of us and that you are not alone. You don't have to be in shame and guilt about, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Why are all these information and these realizations coming up for me all at the same time, and really so sudden, I wasn't even thinking about it, and now I'm thinking about it. It's like, man, it could be on the level of, gosh, I just realized I want my partner to move in with me. Oh my God, where did this come from? And oh my God, how come, I just have to spit it out right now. I feel so like I just need to spit it out. First of all, give yourself self-compassion to know that we're all experiencing this, and the chart is supportive for you to spit it out, but spit it out in conscious awareness, where you know that this might be abrupt to your partner. This might be abrupt to the person who is receiving this information, and vice versa. When somebody gives you information that seems out of the blue, that seems to blow the relationship open to the unknown, just know that we're all here with you, and it's okay to just be in neutrality first. Just recognize your partner's courage for spitting things out, to be open to communication, and to allow yourself that time to really digest and to understand and to reach your own inner vulnerability first, and establishing a mutual space, a mutual safe space first, before you move into either digesting the information even in your head first, and then going into discussion with your partner. It is so conducive to going deep. The energies are very conducive in going deep. Just again, that reminder to first establish mutual safety zone. Like if you're in a restaurant, it's like, okay, let's just go through something that could really happen. Is if you're in the restaurant and then your partner throws you the sudden information of, oh, they want you to move in with them, or maybe in the negative way where they want to take a break. And then like your system goes into fight, flight, freeze, and shock. So, in public, it's hard to drop into vulnerability. So it's entirely okay to say to your partner, okay, I'm gonna need some time to digest this. So would it be all right if we just finish the meal, just enjoy the meal since we paid for it, right? And then let's go back to our safe space. Let's go back to the comfort of our home and then discuss this in private, right? And that gives you a little bit of a gap, a little more time to come back to your center, to really get in touch with your own inner voice. So that is the suggestion. Be conscious of your own needs for time to process. And there's really no need to, I don't want to say there's no need. Of course, we're going to have in the moment reactions. That is unavoidable when we're in shock, potentially in shock. But again, the point being that we can be compassionate towards our own reactions and be compassionate enough that we communicate our own need for time to our partner. So that is sort of the suggestion there for this story arc. So the night is great, again, for deeper intimacy with Chiron North Node conjunct in the 7th. So right there, Chiron and North Node conjunct, but it already conjunct in, let me see. Yeah, so this starts out conjuncting in the 7th house, Chiron North Node. And then through the night, it does transit to the 6th house. So Chiron North Node looks to Mars Pluto conjunct in the 5th and the 4th. So again, the story arc of the night can literally be relational healing that leads to physical and sexual healing. The renewal energy is strong. Just don't be afraid to look at the wounds or the shock. It doesn't even have to be wounds. It could just be some sort of shock that is actually welcoming, but it shocks you in the moment. And this energy isn't just for Valentine's Day for that day. I know there are people who just purposefully avoid Valentine's Day because it's gotten so commercial and the prices have just gotten ridiculous in some places. And so I know some people may choose to celebrate Valentine's Day a couple of days prior or a couple of days after when, the crowds die down a little bit. But I just want to say that the same energy stays consistent throughout the week, at least the week. And I would say even the week after, leading up to, February 21st, which, I have a separate video article on that. But it leads to that. So the energy for potentially going deeper within yourself and within the relationship, meaning to open up a new field of meaning, a new field of possibilities, a new field of vision for the relationship is there throughout the week. It doesn't need to be Valentine's Day night. As Chiron and North Node are coming into conjunction, that leads to the February 21st vulnerability period. This is great timing to lay some foundational work on intimacy, strengthen mutual bond through practical but deep conversations, because we are going to hit that period of, the Mars and Venus conjunction where negotiations begin, the tug and pull. It's like, okay, now okay, let's just use a move-in example. Let's say your partner, they want you to move in, then, as Venus and Mars conjunct, it's like, but how are we going to make this work? What are the negotiations? What are the compromises we need to do? I mean, is the place big enough? Right? And then do I just want to move in cold, or would there have to be some sort of adjustment period where let's not set ourselves up for failure. Let's do like a weekend trial first. And then let's do like a week-long trial, and then maybe that'll lead up to something that's even more significant. So it's this back and forth negotiation of what's comfortable for both parties. And that's going to touch on vulnerable places within our own emotional landscape. So this is an entire, I would say, months long conversation, and it's really not gonna, or I don't want to say not gonna solidify, but it'll start solidifying after Venus and Saturn conjunct on the spring equinox on March 21st. But the conversation is ongoing before we see some sort of groundwork that can be laid. So again, this is just the beginning period to lay some foundational work on intimacy, to start building that rapport so that it can lead to the next step. This is the time to really start building rapport through some really deep conversations. Again, this is really interesting. Usually conversations that touch on logistics can be off-putting for a romantic night, but because Venus is in Capricorn, answering to Saturn in Pisces in 5th house around 9 to 11 p.m. So here is Venus, and it answers to Saturn. I'm going to use this chart instead. So Venus here answering to Saturn in the 5th. And then Saturn the 5th answers to, because Saturn's in Pisces. Pisces ruler Jupiter conjuncts the moon, the 7th house of partnership. Again, that is the 9 to 11 p.m. chart. The deep conversations about mutual goals, the potential legacy for the relationship can be stimulating. It's actually the right thing to talk about. It could be about kids, family, joint estate, just very logistical stuff. So again, using the example of moving in with somebody, it's okay to talk about, the place having only one sink. And what am I going to do if we need to use the sink at the same time, or needing to use the one bathroom at the same time? It's okay to go to that level. That actually is in alignment with the energy of the night, and it actually builds deeper understanding. And I really honestly cannot say that this leads to a stronger bond, again, because Uranus is involved, Pluto of transformation, Pluto, which means transformation, they are involved. So the storyline could go either way. It could be because you went very, very deep. You realize that, there's just some things that are not compatible. And then maybe you're going to be headed down the path of maybe a conscious separation versus the path of a deeper bond. Just that variation is still there. I cannot say what's going to happen, but either way, the deeper things need to come out, and the deeper things in terms of logistics, how we're actually going to work with each other. We're going beyond romance, we're going beyond just the expression of love. We're going into the practical. How would the practical aspects of this relationship work? We have the energy saying that you have to, or there's going to be an earthquake around where the foundations have been a little too fixed, a little too rigid, and and it was getting stale. The water is no longer moving. It's just too much inertia to have the relationship move forward. So we need to loosen that up to be able to reach deeper for what else can we be, and set a deeper foundation for the relationship to go deeper. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And let's get to the steamy part. So I know I haven't gone to it, but with Pluto-Mars conjunction, it's a conjunction of war, but also a conjunction of sexual tension resolved in intimacy. I mean, I have to say what it is. Pluto-Mars, yes, it's an energy of conflict, with Pluto-Mars right there. And we start the night with Pluto-Mars in the 5th house of romance. And then we transit through to the 4th house, and then transits through the 3rd house, communications. With this arc, again, just intimacy in terms of physical intimacy, in terms of verbal intimacy, it's all right there. It's like verbal jousting and physical jousting that could be really exciting if used correctly. So this is the hot and steamy conjunction. Again, the potential availability of intimacy is there. And just a reminder that the conjunction has to look to Uranus, Venus, Saturn, Neptune as qualifiers, because the conjunction is ruled, right there, Pluto, Mars, here being in the sign of Aquarius, is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus ruled by Venus, Venus ruled by Saturn, Saturn ruled by Jupiter. So, we're going around the circle. So that means this conjunction is qualified by the requirements of Uranus, Venus, Saturn, Neptune. Meaning, while you can feel the urge to go into intimacy, again, verbal, physical, practice slowing down, gradually going deeper into vulnerability, and again, establish mutual safety first, and then connect only after you're able to establish that mutual connection. And you want to be able to connect to your own vulnerability and then witness your partner's vulnerability. So this is, again, the power of Chariclo and Mercury, where just healing communications can happen. And of course, with healing, it doesn't mean that the results are going to go one way or the other. It just means that healing is possible, regardless of the outcome. And there's some Saturn discipline required to do this, such as conscious breath work to ground yourself in the moment. Again, either that's emotional intimacy, verbal intimacy, physical intimacy, doesn't matter. It's just being able to ground yourself in the moment so we can be in mutual receptivity. It does take some practice. It does take some discipline, but it gives you the greatest possible gain in the relationship, given the planetary alignment. So good luck. And I just want to give a quick summary based on your current relationship. So if you just, I know I can go on a tangent and digress, but if you just want the summary of things, here it is, based on your relationship status. For Valentine's Day and frankly, Valentine's week and the following week after that for committed relationships. For those of you lucky enough to be in a committed relationship and is looking to deepen your bond as you move forward, this entire presentation, entire spiel was for you. And it is a great night to make some magic and practice skillful vulnerability. Mindful intimacy, slow and non-goal-oriented intimacy can help you reach a newfound and fresh understanding of your relationship. And I just want to extend that intimacy not only to the physical, but also the verbal, the emotional. Just being mindful through this somewhat transformational time can be very, very conducive to moving the relationship forward to where it needs to be. And if you have kids, consider having them overnight at your in-laws or book a hotel for just the evening. I think people offer that, or hotels offer that now, or, book Airbnb for the night, for the afternoon, something like that. For the more routine couples, the older couples where you've been together for ages, you're like numb. Don't try to make anything happen. Just ease into the sensuality and intimate exchange without pressure and expectations, because the energy will come. With this configuration, just what needs to surface to break the mold that's been binding you to the same place, to this fixed place in the relationship will come. The earthquake will come. The fire of transformation will come, no matter what. So just ease into it. Allow this energy to surface, to come up. Again, it's like this night was made for you to deepen your bond. So use it well. Use it well. And I have to say, for those, because I have friends that I know who are just doing super well in their relationship, again, this is just another great energy for those who are doing extremely well in relationships to break through just those remaining areas that feel stagnant, because we all have those, no matter how great we're feeling. It's just the energy is being able to break through particular areas of stagnancy in the relationship and maybe come to a certain inspiration or illumination on how to change up the relationship, or even how to go deeper, or even how to go that next step. So it could really be exciting and inspired for those who are in a committed and in a happy bond. So moving on, if you are dating and not necessarily committed, I would say be aware of your personal boundaries, because there is heavy influence of the Pluto-Mars sexual energy along with Neptunian projections, because Venus and Neptune are in sextile. And with these two interacting with each other, Pluto-Mars and Neptune with Venus-Neptune, there could be an assumption of commitment and something romantic and deeper when there could be none. So it's okay to have a dreamy and intimate night. Just bear in mind that the clock will strike 12, and you don't know if you've got yourself a fantasy or the real deal until Venus conjunct Saturn, March 21st. Again, as I mentioned, Venus conjunct Saturn is when we start to finalize the negotiations, to finalize the compromises, to finalize the communications, the back and forth, to be able to move forward, to build something solid, to come up with a game plan, to move the relationship forward. So this is actually materializing the relationship in the new direction. So those who are just dating and not committed, just be aware that the illusion, the projection of this going somewhere can be there. So I would just have it in the back of your mind. Still enjoy, but have it in the back of your head that let's just enjoy sort of the experience through the experience, but not to raise expectations too high that the fall is going to hurt when reality sets in. Again, with Pluto-Mars, please also practice fierce self-compassion and fight back if you find yourself in a precarious situation. This is on a more serious note, hopefully a very, very small percentage, because the alignment of the Pluto-Mars aggressor offender can be, or under that alignment, the aggressor offender can be delusional and argue that the feeling was mutual. Again, having to do with the Venus-Neptune. Let me just show you. So the Venus-Neptune in sextile position and Venus being together, somewhat together with Pluto and Mars. Again, that could lead to projections of some sort of consent that may not be there. So again, just be aware. On the positive side, within mutually established safety, you can experience heightened connection if you're able to go a little deeper and share your practical goals and visions for, I'm not even going to say for the relationship, but just share your ideas around what it is that you want, your goals and your visions for relationships. I'm going to change the relationship to relationships in general, to share your visions of what it is that you are looking for and what you want. That is tremendously beneficial for you to move the relationship forward. Either the relationship needs to go into separation or it's going to go deeper. That's outcome. It's regardless of the outcome, it's healing for you to talk about your goals and visions of the relationship that you do want. So that's the bottom line for those who are dating and not necessarily committed. And then for singles, finally, The possibilities of the night can look like this: going out on a group outing when you haven't dated for a while, and that gives you momentum towards confidence and healing, or being invited to a social function or social functions when you've been grieving personal relational losses. And you find healing just by being witnessed in public instead of sulking at home. Because with Cherry there's a sense of being able to heal through being witnessed. So if you do get the opportunity to go out and hang out and enjoy yourself in a safe space with a group of people, do so and just enjoy the flow. And the key point is being able to touch on a certain level of healing. And it does fall on a school night, Valentine's Day. I think it's Wednesday this year. So if you end up home alone, it's fine. Feel free to get into just that central zone and give witness to your own physical and sensual needs, especially Moon conjuncting Jupiter in Taurus. A lot of self-care energy is present, is available. So don't think that you have to sulk at home alone if you do end up being home alone. Get into the central zone and give witness to your own physical and sensual needs. Be aware of what needs have been unmet and fill those needs. So with Taurus, Moon in Taurus, there can be a lot of body awareness, and it can come from conscious eating, relaxing bath, or just walk in nature. I know it's still kind of cold to walk outside in the northern hemisphere, but being in touch with your house plants or even your pets are part of nature. Just connecting to that energy can be really healing. With Jupiter Moon conjunct in Taurus, again, it's that sensual energy, and you can be in communion with your own sensuality through many different ways. Bottom line being, be loving and kind to yourself and have an intimate night no matter where you are. Intimacy, I'm not just talking about, going solo physically, but also emotionally. It really is, with Cherry, it is emotional healing. So take care of that piece to feel emotionally cared for, to feel emotionally safe. The energy is there to support it. Okay. And then, we have to talk about contentious relationships. Let me just sip some tea. So yeah, unfortunately, with what's happening in the sky, this is potentially very possible. So this is for those who already know that they are on the path of separation, or somehow the path seems to be leading there. Consider using the energy to reach your own internal sensuality and healing, as described in the single section. So don't try to push it. Don't try to use this energy to try to save the relationship, to try to go deeper when the relationship is already on the path to dissolution, to being dissolved. Use this time to really do some self-care, because it can yield very powerful revelations, talking about realizations with Pluto-Mars in conversation with Uranus and Mercury squaring Uranus. When you're in that state of relaxation, in that state of receptivity, you may receive insights into the relationship that you've never considered or seen before. So use it for self-care first, and then allow the insights to drop in. And for the very selected few, the Uranus-Mercury square can shake the relationship foundation to a point of disintegration. In that case, the intimacy available would be geared towards a conscious separation, as we've talked about, or, it can push the relationship, if it's not defined, towards something that is a little more defined, more finite. But either way, I project for most, even if there are jarring revelations and communications through the night, and I have, again, because Mercury continues to square Uranus for the next couple of days, throughout the week, really. Because Jupiter moon in the 7th is there for Valentine's night, but Jupiter moon will be in Taurus for the next day, and Jupiter and moon, that energy in Taurus, will ensure that the exchanges are for the greatest expansion of your relationship, no matter which way it expands towards. And that movement will bring the greatest possible feeling of aliveness and hope moving forward. It's about being able to feel hopeful and alive in the relationship. And sometimes the death of a relationship is necessary for connection to come back alive, or a sense of connection to come back online. So I really can't project which way it's going to go for everybody, but either way, it's being able to move forward to the next stage of the relationship through some maybe challenging, transformative conversations, hard conversations, but still it's going to move forward. And so, yeah, may it be so. So that's the Valentine's Day forecast, and really the Valentine's week forecast for this year. And I know I didn't really mention the hot and steamy until the very, very end. As you can see, it really has more to do with the transformative powers of Pluto and Mars, more than the physical act itself. But for those, again, who are lucky enough to be in just committed and uplifting, joyous relationship, the hot and steamy energy is absolutely there to support you. So hopefully that was helpful. And again, if you're not really interested in getting to understand the chart or follow along the chart as I explained this in the video, feel free to just jump over to the article and then scroll down to the summary and just sort of skim through the summary to have it in the back of your head as things arise around the time of Valentine's Day. So I wish you all a lovely, lovely, sensuous Valentine's Day, and much love to you, and may you receive expressions of love on that day, on that week. Either it's external or internal, doesn't matter, just receive the love. So I'm going to go ahead and close here. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time. Namaste.